Hi everyone, my name's Craig. I have developed a system called Jazz Hack, and no, it doesn't teach you how to play like a hack. What it is a system to teach you how to improvise over jazz standards. It is a great gateway for people, either kids starting out or young adults starting out trying to improvise over jazz, or hobby musicians that are just interested in being able to play some nice solos. If Pat Metheny, if you're watching this, probably is not something for you, but anyone that works this way through the program can move on to be great with more practice and more years of experience. But let's get down to it. I am going to explain to you a little bit about what this is about for people that are wondering. Let's take a little step back. Improvisation. Most people that start improvising start doing blues. That's kind of a great gateway first to rock and also later to jazz and all sorts of stuff. But the key to improving blues is, where do you start? Everyone starts the same spot. Everyone starts playing the minor pentatonic scale or the blues scale. That's where everyone starts, and you're told, okay, these are the notes that work. You can play them for all of the 12 bars of a 12-bar blues, and they work all the time. And that is a great first step. And of course, you can go on to make things more complex after eventually, but everyone knows that these are the notes that work. The thing about jazz is that you can't just play a set of notes that works all the time. You have to play notes that fit with the chord. Most teachers will tell you to learn the notes that work over each separate chord, or at least special chords that you need to learn a special scale for, or arpeggios over every chord or something like that. This is a great way to start getting into improv without having to do those difficult steps right away. So what it is we base your thinking around the major scale. Just the 7 notes of a regular old major scale. That's where we start. On a real simple standard, like say Blue Moon or something like that, where it's all diatonic, then I think many of you know that you can just play the major scale through the whole tune. The problem is that the more complex the tunes get, the more chords that are out of key or chords that you can't just use those notes on. So this system helps teach you to solo over the entire tune, starting your focus around the major scale, and maybe having to only change 1 or 2 notes when you hit that chord that's out of key. So instead of having to learn a whole new scale and think, okay, here comes the B7, and that's where I'm going to play my altered dominant scale. Oh, and then it's too late. Instead of doing that, you can, maybe there's just 1 note that you need to change to make the major scale with that 1 changed note fit the chord perfectly. And then you can just continue along your musical idea without having to start your whole thought process over again. So that is basically, and you know, before I move on, a lot of people do this. A lot of pros do this. A lot of people that have memorized all the scales and arpeggios and know the entire fretboard, if you're playing guitar or know all the notes for any instrument, they kind of often think in that way. They kind of know what notes work when. But they've spent years and years building up this huge catalog of information to base that off of. So the hack, this little shortcut to get you started, just shows you what notes work when. It's as simple as that. I've kind of laid them out on charts that are really easy to follow, on tune charts, on like standard tunes. We start off with simple tunes like Autumn Leaves, Fly Me to the Moon, and stuff like that. Working our way up in the first 5 anyway to Stella by Starlight, which is a tune that can get quite complex with a lot of different scales, a lot of different arpeggios, this and that, but it's actually quite easy if you use this system because there's only small little notes that need to be changed here and there. So on my webpage, jazzhack.com, I break things down systematically. I show you how to do it. If you don't know the major scale, I show you that as well. If you do, then if you know the major scale, then things progress quite quickly. And you'll be soloing in a tune like Stella by Starlight in no time. But it's smart to kind of work your way through the steps to get to know the system and how the changes work and get used to it. Once you can solo over a tune like Stella by Starlight, You won't play like a guy like Pat Metheny or something like that straight away, but you'll be playing the right notes. And I think that's a great place to start. After that, you can start copying famous players' solos. You can learn all your arpeggios. You can do all that stuff. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but why not start just playing with a nice, tuneful little solo that is nice and fun and sounds good. No wrong notes, and it doesn't have to be complex right away. But it's nice to be able to play in weeks and not years of all this knowledge you've built up. It's nice to kind of get to it. So if that sounds interesting and you want to give it a try, go over to jazz-hack. Don't forget the hyphen. jazz-hack.com, and you can start slowly working your way, or quickly working your way if you're more advanced, through the steps, and through the first 5 tunes are all free. So there's nothing you need to sign up for or anything to get started. Go give it a try and give it a real chance and work your way through the tunes, and hopefully it'll help you. Thanks a lot. Happy jamming.